What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we have some new numbers coming in for the predictions for COLA for 2026. So I want to talk about this. There's some good news and bad news. I'll share that with you. And I'm using the Senior Citizens League. Let me go over to their website really quickly and just show you what I'm looking at here. So this is a Senior Citizens League. If you're looking for a resource, if you are retired, if you're a senior, they have good information on this site. And so go over there. It's seniorsleague.org. Okay, so seniorsleague.org. And so if you scroll down here, and I'm just showing you how I got to the predictions for COLA. If you come down here, it says press releases, press briefings, and I would imagine they're probably going to update this every month. At least that's what they were doing last year. And so you see here, it says December 2024. This was posted on January 7th. So it says Social Security Fairness Act signed into law. So it was signed into law on January 5th. And so it looks like I don't know when the posts come out, but some posts, if you go down below, December 5th, and that's for November. So it looks like every month they're updating this site. And so here on January 15th, it says 2026 COLA predictions, and you click that, and then it brings you to the actual predictions. And so we're going to go over this right now. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. You can also follow me on Blue Sky. I'll have a link. It'll be in the comment section. It'll be pinned at the very top. Okay, so let's go ahead and we will go over this and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on with this prediction, because as I stated, there's good news and bad news. The good news is right now what they're showing, and this is that they have their own model. Okay, so the Senior Citizens League they use their own model. And actually, let me just go down to the bottom here and show you what that model consists of. And so it says here about the TSCL, so that's the Senior Citizens League model. It says each month TSCL issues a new prediction of the next COLA for Social Security using a statistical model. The model incorporates the Consumer Price Index, so they're looking at the Consumer Price Index, the Federal Reserve interest rate, and the national unemployment rate. Okay, so that's what they use for this model. And so that's how they get to the numbers that they're showing us here. And maybe I should follow up and start looking at individually. Usually I will look at the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, and I'll let you guys know that. But then I don't go into some of these other things. So maybe I should be looking at those as well. But nonetheless, so it says here, as of right now, the prediction is that COLA will be 2.1%. And I know you're saying 2.1%. Wow, that's not a lot. Well, that's what they're predicting right now. Okay, so the good news, if you want to look at it this way, the good news is that if it's 2.1%, then the anticipation is that we're not going to see inflation go up. That's what they're showing us here. Now, I don't know about you, man. I'll show you guys a picture at the end of this video, but have you shopped lately? Prices are still up there. And egg prices are even, they're going up higher. I think 10 to 15% increase, and that's just in 1 month. And so I don't know if they're using that information. They probably don't have that. Well, they don't have that information yet, because we'll get that. We'll get the information for January and February. So we'll get that CPI score. And so I'm sure this 2.1% is probably going to go up. I can't see it staying at around 2.1%. Remember, what they're using here is the CPIW. Okay, so for wage earners and clerical staff, that's what they use to calculate COLA. And so looking at this illustration here gives you just a little bit more information. It's really bad. It's hard to read, but we'll work through it anyway. So in 2020, we had 1.6 COLA, and then 2021 we had 1.3, 2022 we had 5.9, 2023 we had 8.7. So, and this is as a result. So you have to understand they're going back a year really to have the COLA for the next year. So 2023 they're using the numbers from 2022, and we know in 2022 that's when we saw inflation skyrocket. So nonetheless, 8.7 there, and then we went down in 2024 it was 3.2. And then 2025, it was 2.5. And so the prediction right now in 2026 is that it will be 2.1%. I'm anticipating it's going to go higher than that. I think what they're doing is they're starting at the low, and they're starting where the Federal Reserve wants inflation to be. They want it to be around 2%. So they're starting there. Next month, when they put this projection out, it's going to go higher because for sure next month we're going to see inflation. And that's just based on grocery prices. Grocery prices are still going up, and it's not getting any better with this bird flu situation. The price of eggs is going up, and if the price of eggs go up, then a lot of stuff will go up with that. I'm going to do a more extensive video on that in the future, very near future. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the key insights. So it says, slowing COLAs risk leaving seniors behind. While slowing inflation is a good thing, it doesn't mean prices will fall, just that they will rise more slowly. This is very important because when we're talking about inflation, inflation will rise. It's supposed to rise. If we have a good economy, if we have a thriving economy, we're going to see a little bit of inflation. Okay, that's a good thing. If we start seeing deflation, where prices, we don't have any inflation at all, that's a bad thing. That's how you drop into a recession. And so we want to have a little bit of inflation. That's why the Federal Reserve says 2%. That's where we want it to be, around 2%. So we see a little bit of an increase, but it's not too much where it's, sticker shock when you go buy groceries or sticker shock when you go buy anything. And so we will see inflation, but we want that inflation to be very, very low. And so that's a key there. Like people, they get all amped up about inflation, and they're thinking, well, 4 years ago, a carton of eggs was $1, but now it's like $4 or $5 or $6. Okay, yes, that's because of inflation over the years. That's the reason why you're paying more. But what we don't want to see is we don't want to see inflation really spike up. We just want to see it rise really slowly. Okay, we want to see growth in our economy, but a slow growth. And then it goes on to say, this leaves many seniors facing a budget shortfall, according to data from the Senior Citizens League, a 2024 survey. 62% of older Americans worry that their retirement income won't even cover essentials like groceries and medical bills. Okay, now it goes on and says here, the incoming administration can support seniors by following through on its plan to eliminate taxes on Social Security benefits. Okay, so they're talking here about the elimination of taxes on Social Security. We talked a little bit about that. The Senior Citizens League estimates that this plan could save a typical senior about $3,000 a year, which comes out to about 5% of a typical senior's budget. And so although this would be good for some, it's not going to be good for everyone receiving Social Security benefits, because some people receiving Social Security benefits, they don't pay taxes because they don't receive enough in Social Security as well as their other retirement. So that's an issue, because now you're going to be helping people who are, let's say, middle class and above, but you're not going to be helping those people who are at or below the poverty line. And so that's something that needs to be addressed as well. Okay, and this is coming from the executive director from the Senior Citizens League. It says, inflation slowing down doesn't mean that seniors are catching up. It's essential that Congress acts quickly to fix years of subpar COLAs and help give seniors the quality of life they deserve. Okay, so we talk about this a lot when it comes to the fact that COLA is not keeping up with inflation. And so every year, we're already seeing it. 2.5%, that's the COLA increase for 2025. Well, guess what? We're over 2.5% right now when we're looking at the CPI scores. Okay, so that means that your purchasing power is less powerful than it should be. We should have COLA above what we're seeing when it comes to the CPI. So the hope is that the consumer price index, inflation will go down at least a little bit, at least go back down around 2%, but there's no guarantee. And like I said, it's probably not, just based on some of the information that we're receiving just in January. Okay, let's go back and let's finish this off here. It says the Trump administration's plan to eliminate taxes on Social Security benefits would make a massive difference. And then it says here, the current thresholds used to determine if you'll pay taxes on your benefits were set up back in the 1980s, and we've never adjusted them for inflation. This is something that's also very important. There's a reason why they did this, but they set the numbers from back at, what is it, like, I can't remember. It's like 25,000 or it's less than that, but for a single individual, and then 32,000, I think, for couples. They set this up back in the 1980s. And so every year we're seeing a cost of living adjustment, which means that people are receiving a little bit more in their benefits, and it's pushing some of those people into a point where now they have to pay taxes. There are a few reasons why Social Security needs to be reformed, and this is one of them. When we're looking at, they haven't adjusted this, and so now more and more people are having to pay taxes on the Social Security benefits that they're receiving, and so that's a problem. That is a problem for a lot of people. Now, right now, they're talking about eliminating, taxes on people receiving Social Security benefits, so that will help some of those people who are right on the bubble, but like I said, it's still not going to address the people who are living at or below the poverty line receiving Social Security benefits. But the reason why they did this is because they want to collect more and more in taxes, because those tax dollars go back into Social Security, back into the trust fund. And so that's why they didn't adjust it. Now, if they started adjusting it, you're going to have less people that will be paying taxes on their Social Security benefits, which means that it'll be less revenue going in to the Social Security Administration. But what they need to do is they need to realize, look, we're going to have to make some changes when it comes to FICA. Increase it across the board. Everybody working right now needs to contribute a little bit more. Instead of 6.2%, maybe 8.2% or something like that, and raise the cap on people who are now, if you earn over $176,100, you no longer have to contribute to Social Security, to FICA. So there's certain things that they can do, but the reality is at this point what we're looking at is we're looking at an antiquated system where now more and more people have to pay taxes on their Social Security benefits, and they're not talking about real ways to fix the problem. Okay, all right, so I went and bought eggs a couple of days ago. And we know right now that we're in a situation where we have bird flu, and this happens every so often. Back in 2022, we saw the same situation. Now, what I'm concerned about is back in 2022, we saw the same situation. It was in around the same time in January, and guess what? We saw inflation skyrocket. In June of 2022, inflation was at 9.1%. And so that is my fear at this point, because we're seeing some of those same patterns that we saw back in January of 2022. So looking at the price of eggs now, I go to a local farmer, and that's where I buy my eggs. So I don't usually, I'll buy them at Costco sometimes, but I like going here because the eggs are fresher and all that good stuff, right? And they're organic and everything. So I went down there, and first off, if you notice, now this is a small farm, and so it's not like they're going to have a lot of eggs. And right over here, they have another refrigerator, but it has different types of eggs, not eggs that I purchased, not coming from a hen, basically. So nonetheless, this is what I purchased, $16.25. And you might think, well, that's really expensive, but there are 30 eggs there. So that, it's like 53 cents an egg is basically what it is. So it amounts to about the same here. If you buy a dozen eggs, it's now $6.50. Now, I live in California, so California eggs probably a little bit more expensive than some other parts of the U.S., but the price of eggs, definitely, they've gone up, okay? And if you even look down here, large eggs, 15, and they don't have them, and that's another thing that you're starting to see. I don't know what's going on in your grocery store, but when I go to grocery stores, it's hard to find eggs because everybody is, I've seen videos of people at Costco and people in other places just grabbing as many eggs as they can. It's like it's like the whole toilet paper thing right before the pandemic. So this is becoming a huge problem. And if you look down lower, you see they do have some eggs down at the bottom here. And what's that, $11.25 for medium eggs, and then $4.50 for, I would imagine that's a dozen eggs right here, but they don't have them. So if they don't have them, you can't buy them. And the interesting thing about eggs, and I'll do a more extensive video on this later, but we put eggs in a lot of things when it comes to food as well as cosmetics and all this different stuff. I had no idea that we had eggs in a lot of these different products, but we do. And so if the cost of eggs go up, then the cost of food will go up. It will rise with it, because if you're using eggs to make a lot of these different foods that we buy, cereals and things like that, bakery products, all that, then the price of it's going to go up across the board. And so this is going to have a major impact. And that's why I'm saying right now they're saying 2.1% for cola for 2026. It's going to go up higher than that. That prediction will rise. Now, we'll have to see if inflation continues to rise. If inflation starts going back down, then, yeah, of course, then that's going to come back down. And so we'll just have to see what happens in the future. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention. We do have predictions out. So every month I will show you the Senior Citizens League prediction, and then we'll take a look at some of the different, CPI score and all that stuff, so you can kind of see the price of groceries and things like that. Something that's we should all be paying attention to because we all have to eat. There's certain items that we don't have to buy, like if it's just a new TV or things like that, I don't have to buy it. Appliances, I can get by unless my appliance completely goes out. If my fridge goes out, then I'll have to buy another one. But when it comes to food, every week we buy food. We have to eat. So I want to know what you guys think about all this. So let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.